there, Flex Barbie here, your host of the Flex Pretty podcast. And just like every other episode, y'all know I only bring on amazing women. And so I've got an amazing woman here with me today. My good friend, Jasmine Johnson, is here.
Hey.
Thank you for being here, Jasmine.
Thank you for having me, DeKel. I am so happy to be a part of the movement, Flex Pretty Podcast. If you're not into it, get with it, because you will be left behind. I don't want that for you.
We don't want that.
We don't want that, no.
So, Jasmine, for those who don't know you, I know you. I feel like I know you pretty well. Jasmine has been up in my house. So making me cry. I'm just joking. Anyway.
Sharing laughs.
Like she had to plug that in there. Making me cry more than laughing, but it's all right. Well, maybe equally.
I think it was balanced. And I always tell her, I said, listen, I'm never laughing at you.
Jasmine's laughing at me. Yeah, she's laughing at me. I don't be laughing when you laugh sometimes, but that's all right. That's all right.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort.
If that's what you want to call it. This may make sense a little bit later.
Yeah, a little later.
But Jasmine, for those who don't know you, tell us a bit about who you are, what you do.
Most definitely. So again, Jasmine Johnson here. My favorite thing right now is just helping people recover from whatever it is their daily life is throwing at them. My title is an exercise physiologist, and more recently I became a certified stretch therapist. Favorite color is blue. I'll pretty much eat about anything, not picky at all, and I'm a wine connoisseur any day of the week. So yeah, I mean, you gotta stick in or stay with us to figure out a little bit more, but that's the gist, the long and short of it.
Awesome. So, Jasmine, we met back in 2021. Yeah. Jasmine was helping me along my prep in 2021 for about, I want to say about 16, 14, between 14 and 16 weeks of my prep.
Yeah. It was
Jasmine, Jasmine was like, yeah, I remember the season and everything. But Jasmine was we did quite a bit of stretching, massage throughout that time. So she handled all my body work for me through prep in 2021 and a bit in 2022 as well.
Yeah, springtime.
Yeah. And let me tell you, like, it was such a great experience. I mean, my body obviously needed it.
And it was responding well.
I was break up quite a bit, and it definitely helped with my symmetry as well. But it was also great just working with you, like you as the person, aside from
the job
from the job itself. It was always great interacting with you and connecting with you. We'd always, like I said, you'd laugh at me a little bit, laugh with me a little bit.
And learn something new.
Yeah, we'd always have really good conversations. And so I always looked forward to that part of our sessions as well. And so it's great to have you here to get to dive into the brain a little bit more and to share a bit of your story with our viewers too. I feel like there's a lot of different layers now and different things have changed over, the years. So, yeah.
It's like 3 years now.
Yeah.
3, 2. It's a lot.
It's been a few years. So, I'm sure a lot has changed. So, I want to know, and I'm sure our audience does too, wants to learn a bit more about you, what you do. So, tell me, you're in the recovery space. So that's your passion, helping people recover. You're an exercise physiologist.
Right.
And stretch therapist.
Right. And for those that are like, what's that? Like, an exercise physiologist is just basically someone who like studies your medical history and compares it to your current lifestyle just so that I can provide you more or less with the best form of exercise and fitness regimen, believe it or not. Okay. And that is done through a series of exercise testing. So I just kind of give you a baseline understanding of where you are physiologically before you try to go do something crazy, that kind of way.
And then do you then walk them through what they need to be doing to improve whatever needs to be?
Yeah.
Improved.
So after I administer a stretch test or a strength test, whatever it may be, I would let them know, hey, this is where you are. This is probably why. And then this is what we would need to do to move past that, assuming that that's really one of your goals that you would want to do.
What would cause someone to come to an exercise video? Is it like pain, like chronic pain?
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm of the opinion from what I've observed in the field, like a lot of people aren't familiar with that title, that kind of way. And it's probably mainly because we're situated here in the Bahamas and there's no space for that. Yeah. When I came home from school, that's my title, but there's or there was no organization really in place for me to say, hey, are you in need of an exercise physiologist? You know, that kind of way. So people would never really think to come and find me. But really and truly, I'm probably someone you could see or should see before, you know, trying to go to a physical therapist, because a physical therapist is a more well-known title, right? I feel like in the Bahamas, if you have any pain or aches or whatever the case may be,
you're recovering from an injury.
But really and truly, a physical therapist's main objective is to help someone who has suffered an injury recover safely, if that makes sense. So they provide those patients with modified exercises to strengthen up the ligaments surrounding the injury site, whether it's knee, back, or ankle.
That's a physical therapist.
Yes, a physical therapist. So they have to comprise their regimen of recovery things, but it's just a part of it, if that makes sense. So if you walk into the clinic and you're in pain, I probably can't do the exercises with you because you're in pain. So I have to use some sort of therapeutic modality first
before you can even administer a test.
Right. So, you know, I consider us like the go-to people before injury happens. You know, prevention is key, you know. So,
cool. So you're an exercise physiologist,
right,
and a stretch therapist.
As of late, yes.
As of recently, a new title, a new notch on the belt.
Right, and that's not to say I didn't know how to stretch prior, but it's just, you know, one of those self-enhancement moments. I was like, you know what, let me get it on paper.
It's always good to learn. Never stop learning, right?
Most definitely.
So talk me through like what made you decide like this is the space that I want to be in.
So I would say, from I was a kid, I never knew exactly what it was I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help people. I would say I want to be in the medical field and I want to help people, but I never said I wanted to be a doctor or a nurse. I just knew I wanted to help people. So fast forward, track and field took a hold of me, and I took a hold back.
What was your race? Or what was your event?
Short distance, sprinter all day, 100, 200, and when my coach made me run the 400, which I hated. Because everybody was like, you're a sprinter, you can handle it. I'm like, no. That's something completely different.
That's too long.
That's too long.
Shoot, the 800 is a sprint now. You joking.
This is it. And that's how I knew I had to retire.
Yeah.
I was like, no. But, you know, so being in the track and field space, for me, it wasn't even about fitness, because I know one of your main things was my fitness journey. Like, I feel like my fitness journey started without me even knowing. Because for me, it was just all about competition. I just wanted to be the fastest, and that's the only thing I put emphasis on. But our coaches would have like different masseuses on hand ready for us, and it just amazed me that after a race where I thought I was just done, muscles tight, cramping, I'm in pain, hop on that table, 10, 15 minutes in, a little rub there, a little rub, and I'm good to go. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that for somebody. I didn't even say specifically I want to do that for athletes, because my mind wasn't there. I just was like, I want to learn the physiology of the body and what helps it to get back up on its feet, so to speak. And so, again, being limited in my understanding of the field, I just automatically capped that as, oh, well, professionally, I must need to be a physical therapist. So when I was seeking out my colleges, I was doing that under the idea of I need to be a physical therapist. And I went off to school. Shout out to Georgia State University, the original GSU.
I had a couple friends that went there, actually.
Yeah. So that good people, no people. But so I went there, and my anatomy teacher told us on the first semester, how many of you want to be physical therapists? More than half the class raised their hand, and she was like, listen, stop. You know, everybody thinks that's what they have to be when they enter this field, which is an exercise science field, by the way. But she was like, listen, there's so many other options. And she went down the list. She provided us with the list. And then I came across exercise physiologist. And it, based on the description, it kind of fit my personality. I was never one to want to sit behind a desk 9 to 5. I like to move. I like to be on the go. Bim, bam, boom. So from that point on, I told my mom, I said, listen, you ain't paying.
I was wrong. This is what it is.
This is it. I thought that's what I wanted because I didn't know better. But now I know better. And so, you know, that's how I got in the groove. But again, moving back home from college, though, there was still no space for that title. And so that's how I got connected with different physical therapy clinics, because I was qualified to work within those arenas as well. But at some point, it just clicked in my head. I was like, you know, the injured demographic isn't really my niche. I want to prevent this from happening? How can I help people not have to see a physical therapist if they can help it? Because again, not every injury happens in the gym or, you know, just from being overweight. But for those that can be a little bit more susceptible to those incidents, how can I help them? Recovery, Jazz. And so that's why I kind of try to make what I do for everybody. It's not just for the athletes. It's not just for the gym warriors. It's for anybody that needs some help in trying to regulate what it is they're doing Monday to Monday. You know, it ain't even Monday to Friday no more. Yeah. It's Monday to
Every single day.
Every single day. So, yeah. So that's how I got there. And I've been learning. I've been growing things I thought I knew. I had to build on top of it. Things I thought I would never get to experience and know. It's just blowing my mind daily. But I enjoy it. It's truly become a passion.
That's awesome.
Truly become a passion.
I think it's always awesome when you can do what you love. And like you said, you knew that you wanted to help people from a young age.
From a young age.
And like going through life and seeing that pan out into what you're doing now, I think that's always awesome when you can see it happening. And so I know that you didn't say this in the introduction, but you're also an entrepreneur. Yeah.
I am. And
recently celebrated a year, right? The end of last year, I made a year.
Listen, yeah, it did. It did. And you have to forgive me. I didn't put it in there because between you and me and the world, that was never a goal of mine. Like, it never once crossed my mind growing up, even after getting my degree. It never crossed my mind to say I'm going to have my own business one day. You know, us Caribbean kids, when we go off, you know, America kind of places this beautiful platter in the front of you where as soon as you get out of school, we got to hire you and gonna, you know, and so that was kind of my headset. How do I stay here? How do I make my money here? And things just didn't pan out that way, and so I had to come home. But long story short, though, in coming home, it allowed me room to further grow. The growth that I probably would not have been able to obtain if I stayed, you know. And so God, in all his wisdom, he brought me home against my will. And I had to learn how to make the best of it. Yeah. And I'm glad I did, because, again, it put me in a space to see, hey, this is what it could be, but this is what it could be. Yeah. You know, that kind of way. And that's how I kind of figured out me in the professional field a little bit more. And, again, now that I'm talking to you, like I kept saying, there was no space for it. There was no space for it. Clearly, I had to come home and make space for it. And that's what happened. That's how Endless Motion came about. I had to create a space for myself.
But I think that's also the beauty of, like, you can look at it as there's no one doing it, so, or there's nowhere for me to go and do this thing, so I can't. Or you can look at it like there's no one doing this thing, and so this is the perfect opportunity. Yeah. So it's really, it says the salesman, the shoe salesman that went to the place where the people don't wear shoes, right? Like, you know what story I'm talking about. So some people saw it as this don't make sense going because no one wears them, and the other guy saw it as, well, that's perfect.
That's the point.
You got a whole sea of people to sell shoes to.
A whole market just waiting.
So I think it really does. And I think the underlying theme of a lot of the people that I talk to here on the podcast that have gone through similar, I talked to one of my first guests, actually, who had a similar story. She wanted to stay in the U.S. and work in the U.S., but had to come home. And she was like, you know, that adversity really gave her the fire, like to make stuff shake. And I was like, I think that's the beauty of, we don't see it in the moment. Like, a lot of the stuff we're going through, we're just like, why is this happening? Like, this sucks. Like, I hate this.
Lord, why?
But yeah, and we started to question, like, you know, we started to think of how can we get back to exactly where we want to be, our plan. But the reality is, like, that adversity, you can either use that to propel you forward,
or allow it to bury you.
Oh yeah. And so I'm happy that you didn't allow it to bury you.
I too am happy, because listen, you know, not getting off topic, but, you know, it's just things when you look back, it's like, had I pushed harder, it would not even have gotten me close to where I thought I wanted to be. Yeah. But I actually probably would have just been hurting myself more than I would have wanted. And so every day the Lord sends, I'm like, thank you for those closed doors. Yeah. Thank you for them.
Yeah, you got to trust that you are, and everything you go through and where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Everything you went through is what you were supposed to go through. Most definitely. And I think everyone say hindsight is 2020. Like, you don't see it in the moment, but when you look back, you're like, you know what? Like, this makes sense.
Let me put it this way. Like, someone told me, if God showed us from the jump, where he wanted to take us and what we had to go through to get there, though, we would say, anyway, keep that. God, it looks so pretty over there.
I quit.
Yeah. But I could.
Put me on another plan.
For sure. Like, could I choose another pocket?
Yeah.
But, you know, so what he does, though, he gives us piece by piece.
So what we could manage in the time.
What we could manage, and so that we could hold on to him every step of the way, because we don't know what's coming next, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So, you know, got to stick with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to keep moving forward and
don't let the process punk you out of the blessing.
Ooh, put it on a shirt.
Hey, don't let it.
So now you are a full-time entrepreneur.
Yes.
Talk me through that journey a little bit. Like, I know you came home, you were working with a few clinics here.
Right. And
now talk me through that transition from, deciding now I'm going to go on my own. What was that process like for you? I know we spoke a little bit at the maybe beginning stages of it, but how has that been for you? Like starting out to now, to where you are now, and to like where you see yourself going in the space.
Okay. So in the beginning, like I said, I was at a few different physiotherapy clinics over here. Learned so much, right? But again, something else was tugging at me. And, you know, you can only fight those feelings for so long. So what I did, which everybody does at some point, I believe, is we start what we like to call my small business or my little side hustle, you know. And then it just dawned on me one day that, you know, if you keep looking at it as a small thing, it will remain
That's
small.
What it's going to stay.
It's going to stay that way. And so along with that fact, the desire to just do what I want to do for real just was more pressing on me. And so one day I just was like, you know what, it's now or never, you know, stepped out on a leap of faith. And I had maybe one or two clients that I was already seeing for maybe a few months before I decided to make that official push off into the sea. But, you know, since that point, it was, I would say it's a learning process, or it has been a learning curve I had to put myself on. I couldn't compare myself to already established businesses and or other entrepreneurs that I knew. And if you remember, I came to you and I was like, hey, listen, so I'm about to do a thing and I just need some advice, because more recently you were the only person that I had met that was already doing her own thing. And I just trusted you, you know, that kind of way. I was like, our conversations, like you said, our sessions weren't always just sessions. It kind of encompassed a whole lot. And so, you know, just kind of asking you to better understand what that groundwork or that layout should look like so that I could go in whatever direction I was supposed to. It was most helpful. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
But since then, I would say that the hardest thing probably was having to do everything.
I feel that.
You know, when someone hires you to do a job, you just show up to do that job. But now it was a matter of making sure that I put myself out there so that people know that I am capable of doing this job, and then I have to now perform this job, and then I have to now take in account or hold myself accountable for the income and the expenses and so on and so forth and what have you. So that's the most difficult part for me. But I'm learning to get help where I need help.
Yeah.
Right? I can't.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
I can't do it all by myself. And so I have a supportive family. God bless you, family. Mommy, daddy, siblings. I have a supportive friend group. All my girls, y'all know where y'all are, you know. And a supportive boyfriend, you know who you are. But God has placed people. I would say that. During the time when I stepped out to do that, I didn't think I had all of that. Yeah. You know, normally when we hear the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, that's the only time you hear that phrase. But that village can also apply to other things. And so between then and now, like you said, I celebrated a year officially last year. And I've had so many experiences, one of them being Bahamas Fit Fest 2022. If you weren't there last year, make sure you're there this year. But, you know, just being able to walk into doors like that, again, I was a little girl who never thought I would have her own business. So when people say, hey, I heard about you, or I saw you at this place and I just want to be able to figure out how can we work together, it's like, all right, Jazz, deep breath, because they're talking about you. You got to go there and be the best you can be. And so it's just been a faith walk the whole time. I'm trying to improve every month I kind of do a reevaluation kind of thing, like what worked, what didn't work, and what is it that you're trying to do going further. So, for me, I'm trying to actually get into a space, because right now I'm mobile. I go to you. And it sounds convenient because it is, but it's so taxing
on you. It's convenient for them, taxing on you. Yeah.
Convenient for my clients.
Yeah.
So taxing for me. I could see maybe 3 to 4 people in a day, and that would still have me like exhausted, because I'm
just running up and down. Yeah.
Driving up and down. The heat, living in paradise, and then the setup, and then the breakdown, and then it's a lot. So I'm trying to get myself in a more stationary space so that I can maximize my time, but it still be my time.
Yeah.
So it still doesn't have to be a 9 to 5 gig.
Yeah. It's still you set in your availability and your booking.
Either I'm available or I'm not. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. The thing I never thought I'd be doing, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And with the more recent certifications and stuff like that, it's now opening me up to a whole
expanding your reach. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm excited.
I love that. I love that. So talk me through, Jazz. I know you said your passion is for helping people recover, preventing those injuries
most definitely
before they actually happen, keeping people informed and just their best selves in their regular routine, right? So tell me explain to me why recovery is so important. Like, I know why it's important. Like, I always break up and bust up, so I know it's important. But explain to me, like, for those who may be thinking, like, when you say recovery, explain to me what recovery is, right? And then why it's so important.
Okay, so recovery is one, like growing up, they tell you don't explain a word with a word. But recovery is typically time set aside, right, to just allow, more specifically, we're talking about the body. So to allow your body to, bounce back or have an opportunity to offload whatever trauma. And trauma, I know trauma is associated with such a bad connotation, but
and a lot of mental connotations. Yeah, but it's physical too.
It's physical too, right? So it's just time set aside to allow your body to bounce back from whatever trauma or stresses. I think stresses is a good word. Yeah. Stresses that it may have endured for a period of time. So case in point, you may just be somebody that stands on their feet for 9 to 10 hours a day. That's stress on the body.
On your legs, your feet, your ankles.
Everything from the ankle go up, because all of standing on your feet all day can still affect your lower back. You may not think that. You're not picking up heavy things at all, but you're standing up. That's weight.
And you may just be standing bad like me.
That's it. That's another thing. We ain't standing properly.
Yeah,
we
shifting our weight. Bad.
we got one knee hyperextended. We got one hip tilt up higher than the other.
Pop out.
Listen. So again, that's a stress. And if you're doing that for 5 days a week,
8 hours at a time.
8 hours at a time. At some point in time, those muscles are going to respond. And a lot of times, our body, it doesn't show us a problem until it's reached its max point. The first time you do it, you ain't going to know it's a problem. But you give that about 2-3 months in, all of a sudden, you wake up and it's a kink in your back. What's happening here? You want the best, mattress money could buy.
Sleeper. What do you call it?
Them therapeutic.
Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah. You want the best mattress money could buy, but you still waking up with this back pain. It's because of what your consistent daily routine is. Yeah. So if you can find a way, though, to factor in a form of recovery, because everybody's recovery isn't going to be the same thing, and it doesn't need to be the same thing, you will be the better for it. And you will prevent yourself from injuring yourself. Case in point, again, that same scenario, on your feet, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You go to pick up your baby. That's a weight. That's now an injury. Because those tight muscles in that lower back that you didn't deal with from the standing, you go and put a load-bearing situation into play, and chances are you ain't bending properly either.
Yeah, you ain't hinging and engaging,
and you ain't bending your knees. You just going for the job. Especially when it's a mind over matter thing. Adrenaline kicks in, and sometimes we move before we think. Those are the type of things that recovery can help prevent. So it's a process. And we have to learn it, because it wasn't something that was pushed. Eating properly has always been heavily pushed. Exercising is something that has always been heavily pushed. Sleeping, getting the right amount of hours of sleep, and water intake, that has always been heavily pushed. But it's very rare and you could correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
It's very rare that you would hear people saying, hey, don't forget to put in some recovery.
Yeah, I mean, and then even what we consider recovery is it's such a limited window. We think of just massage, like
exactly,
but that's it. Like if you're tight,
I don't like people touching me.
You're stressed, and then people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't want a strange person touching me, and I don't have the time, and yada yada. So yeah, I agree. Like I feel like I personally didn't take recovery really seriously until I got into the bodybuilding space, and I realized like I was
working out for years.
Yeah, I was working out for 7 years before then. Like if you got me to stretch after a workout, like
you were good.
That was a lot. Like I wouldn't even do that. Like I may warm up before a little bit,
for sure,
but I wouldn't.
That aftercare.
Yeah, I think I got literally before bodybuilding. I may have had like one massage in my life.
Wow.
And that was at the time when I was super, super sore. And like my dad was like, yeah, you should get a massage.
Because of pain.
And and I was still so sore that I really could not like tolerate the massage because I was in so much pain. So yeah. I mean, I think recovery now is becoming a bit more prioritized.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that.
I think in the Bahamas, we're still a bit behind. I think the U.S. is caught on. Yeah, U.S. Canada is caught on.
Category. Our men.
I think men everywhere.
Everywhere.
They're a little...
the idea of stretching and just taking time they only worry about the gains,
Yeah.
But come on, you building all this muscle and you ain't providing no room in those joints.
Yeah, you have no flexibility.
No flexibility. How you gonna scratch your back?
Yeah.
How?
That's Ethan.
Like you need to create that that space that improve your range of motion,
but and that even then pays off in the actual workouts themselves. And I've noticed that too. Like I used to have, before I was working with you, I used to have like really not hard time, but I would have slight pain whenever I squatted, like because my range of motion was so limited. Like when I tried to go super deep, I'd have like hip pain. Yeah. And so I know that was something that we always did in our sessions.
Your quads too.
My quads, my hand, everything. My whole lower body was just a mess. But I remember like we did, after about a month of consistently coming and getting the work done, doing the stretches, doing the assisted stretching, like that pain was pretty much gone. And I was like, it's crazy, like, because this is something I was doing religiously for years. I mean, the pain wasn't there for years, but like when it did start, I just didn't know how to. I thought it was just like,
it took years to get there.
Yeah,
but thankfully it didn't take years to fix the problem. That kind of way.
Yeah.
So I try to help people get to a place where once your body speaks to you, because at some point we're all going to do something wrong. Some type of movement is going to be off, or something unknowingly is going to become consistent that shouldn't be. But if your recovery, whatever it may be, stretching, massaging, cupping, whatever, if that's just as consistent, then you'll be able to catch it quicker.
Yeah, you bounce back from it a lot faster.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually, just this week, I had this weird, like, I want to say pain. I thought it was a pain that I've had before, or similar to a pain I've had before, like in my back.
Okay.
And the last time I had it, the doctor told me it was from inflammation.
Okay.
And I didn't go to the doctor. Like my Ethan's sister, my sister-in-law is a doctor, and I asked her, and she was like, yeah, it sounds like, based on the place. I showed her it, and she's like, it looks like inflammation.
Okay.
So she told me just put some like Voltaren on it, take ibuprofen, and it should help. And it did.
Okay.
But this time I did that, and like it didn't go away right away. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take it easy for a day. I'll do some stretching. I did some foam rolling on it.
Nice. And
it actually did help. I mean, before then I was just trying to like kind of stretching it throughout the day and like trying to.
But being intentional about the area, giving it that necessary care. Yeah. Right. Outside of the quick fixes, not knocking Voltaren.
Yeah, but me before I would just been like, let me just rub this up, ice this up. What pills I can pop? Yeah. But so learning my body and just being more in tune to it. I feel like I've always been, or at least I thought I was always pretty in tune with it. Okay. But like after getting on a recovery plan, I realized like, yeah, you wasn't doing nothing for real. Like what you thought you was doing was like bare minimum. Yeah, very surface. So I'm definitely an advocate for recovery, especially on like a regular routine basis.
And people get intimidated by that.
Yeah.
Because they're like you said, I don't have time.
It's the commitment of time, but like your body can cause you to make time if you don't.
This is it. Like if you're really serious about, extending your lifespan as much as you can.
And enjoying the time you have here, right?
That's true, because you could be alive and not living. So, it's not as hard as everybody thinks. And that's all I'm trying to, get everybody to understand. Like, you can do this one step at a time, 20 minutes out of your day. You put intentional effort towards stretching, and you meet yourself where you're at. A lot of times people try to propel themselves beyond.
Yeah.
Because of what they're seeing or where they think they should be. But you have to understand, like, where you want to be and where you are is two different things. And if you treat oneself like your other self, hope I'm not losing myself, but like, just be truthful, kind of way. Like, yes, you want to be able to touch your toes, but you may not be able to do that by the end of the week, and that's okay. You took years, well, in some cases you took years to get to this problem place. You need to give yourself just as much time to
get to the solution place.
If
that makes sense. Yeah,
it does. I don't care what they say. The solution place.
We're gonna go with that. Yeah.
For sure.
That makes sense. So what advice, I mean, you gave a little bit of it just then, but what advice would you give to people that are like, look, they were maybe in my shoes. I've been working out for a long time, or maybe I'm just starting.
Right.
Or I'm in that stressful environment at work where I'm either sitting for a long time and have back pain or tight shoulders, tight back, tight neck.
Yeah.
Lower back is killing me all the time.
The back.
That back.
Lately it's been the knees for me. Like, I'll wake up and they talking to me and I'm like,
everything's be popping on me, so it just depends on the day. But what advice would you give to those people, whether they're super active, moderately active, light, not active at all, but they have, I feel like everybody has imbalances and slight pains, young, old, in between. What advice would you give them if they're like, okay, where do I start when it comes to my recovery journey? Like, what's a good place realistically for me to start? That's not going to require me to carve out 10 hours a week.
Right.
What would be your advice?
Make me feel like I'm losing out, right?
Yeah.
I would say I know I've been speaking generally to everybody so far, but I'm going to split two categories. Right now, category A is for those who have already begun their fitness journey. Y'all solid, y'all in there.
We thick, or are you just saying solid like we?
You in there like
we committed. Okay.
Committed, right? I'm going to talk to you first. The same way that you commit yourselves to your protein shakes and your health food regimens, whatever they may be, meal preps, they're taking the world by storm. The same level of commitment you give to being in the gym every day, you just need to understand that in order to continue performing at your optimal best, like you think you've already been doing, allow yourself to open up to a world where that could actually be enhanced and much better with even greater longevity results, right? A lot of times people just want to equate recovery with performance in the gym. Like, if I do this, I'll be able to squat lower and bench harder. No. Like, outside of that, I tell people all the time, especially my men, I say, suppose you get kidnapped. Because adults get kidnapped, right? It happens all the time. Human trafficking. It's still happening.
I don't mean to laugh at that, but it's the way you said it.
I know. I try to make it a light situation. But people are still being captured. If you're handcuffed, hands tied behind your back, more or less, and the only thing that happens to be free at that time are your legs, and you have no range of motion in your hips, how are you getting up off the floor? You stuck. All the muscles in the world, you strong. How you getting up though? Stretch. That's all I'm saying. Stretch. Allow yourself to reach a place that you didn't even think was possible for reasons that exist outside of the gym. That's group A. Okay. Group B. Group B is for everybody else who has not yet committed to a fitness lifestyle, because of work, because of family obligations, whatever that may be. Like, sometimes recovery can just be for stress relief purposes, kind of way. And like I said it a few minutes back, recovery is going to be different for everybody. So sometimes recovery for someone may just be a walk on the beach, believe it or not.
Going for a saltwater
soak. Right? That could be recovery, right? But the point is you're being intentional for your body's sake. Because I can tell you, anything in life, I used to say it a lot to my patients when I was working at a physical therapy clinic. Physical therapy is 20% physical, 80% mental. If your mind tells you you can't, you won't.
You ain't gonna do it.
You won't. And I found, though, that applies to every part of life, and including recovery. Sure. If you're telling yourself, I cannot carve out this time, you will never.
You won't. Yeah.
You won't. And so just allow yourself, just like Group A, allow yourself to reach a place where you can actually function on an optimal level that you didn't even know was possible. Because as soon as you free up that mental space through making that time for recovery, you will then, believe it or not, want to see what you can now do with this newfound freedom. And I hope the first thing that you decide to do is go to the gym. Or start an at-home workout program. Bowflex Barbie has a few online. Check them out. You know, but you have to free up your mind. A lot of people who say they don't have the time, sometimes that falls such deep in a category that they're not even working out, period.
Yeah, like I tell people you're never gonna find the time. You gotta make the time. Make it a non-negotiable. Yeah. So
once you allow yourself to free up that type of mental space, though, because hey, I did decide to get 8 hours of sleep tonight, and I feel great. You know, oh, I did decide to take that walk, or I did decide to go and get that massage that my, you know, Mother's Day is coming up. Everybody always getting these gift cards and stuff. Use it. It is only be good for a year, sometimes 3 months. Put those gift cards to use. You ain't got to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. I ain't no mother, and I want to get a massage. Okay. Listen, if you walk up to me now, I'm a stepmother. Does that count? Tell you? It does. Ethan, if you're watching this, get me a Mother's Day massage. Okay. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Okay. Like, feel free to gift people with these things, but don't take it for granted. Well, when you receive the gift, don't take it for granted. When you receive those gifts, if you don't use it, send it to me, please. But yeah, so that's my advice. Like, don't hold yourself back from where you can go because you think either A, you don't need it because you're already on top of the world, my gym goers, or B, I don't need to be there because I don't even think it exists. Like, there's no space there's no space and time that exists outside of me running behind my kids, me being there for my husband. I got too much going on. Too much. And, you know, I sleep when I'm dead. That's what they say. Oh, damn. No, child, I don't sleep. Ask anybody who really know me. I love sleeping. Time to sleep. I can eat my 7 hours at least. But I sleep. I was like, I end up at all that, but I get enough. I go to bed later than I would like to. But when I'm there, early in bed, early up. When I'm there, though, it's a good sleep. Gone. Yeah. I'm gone. Don't shake me, because I'm out. I'm out. Whatever you needed from me, you should have catch me during the waking hours. Catch me when I awake. I got you. All right, I think that's all the stuff I had to ask you. Is there anything you wanted to ask me? I always ask people that in the hope that they say no. I just joking. Secrets. Well, it's so crazy because I kind of talked to you about it before the podcast started, but what a lot of the world may not know is that when this was just a brainchild, you know, or a thought in her head, she kind of ran it by me during 2021, and she was like, Jazz, you know, one of these days I want to do a podcast. And I was like, really? Because again, you know, that's not a big thing in our culture. It's becoming popular now, which I'm happy about. But at that time, it was still, you know, and I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I just want to bring on different women. And so to be here, fast forward 2 years later, and it's happening. And it ain't just like kind of happening, like it's happening. So happy. So proud. And I know you probably heard that so much, but like it is such a big deal. And I think I know you know, in Bahamian lingo we have this thing where we're like, oh, they lotioning. I don't care. I lotioning. Me and my friend Christina had a whole lotioning podcast. Like the first 20 minutes was just us lotioning each other, so it's fine. Okay, good. She said, listen, these elbows needed right now. So listen, what I love about DeKalb is when I first moved back home from school, I don't even think I ever told you this, but I heard about Bowflex Barbie, right? And I was like, there's somebody over here named Bowflex Barbie. And I was trying to put the sense behind the name. I was like, okay, so Bowflex, clearly that's a workout thing. And then Barbie, I guess she cute. I guess she pretty. And then little something. Yeah, a little something. And when I finally met her, I was like, okay, cool. But you know, typically when you associate someone as a celebrity, you expecting them to be a certain way and act a certain way. But you were so down to earth. I was like, I ain't no celebrity. I was like, she ain't no celebrity. She ain't famous. Because famous people, you know, they supposedly have an air about them, but you were just the most sweetest, bubbly person. Every time we had a session, we was cracking jokes
Until you made me cry,
yeah. Listen.
Jasmine is screaming and then laughing.
But I took it slow. I promise.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
The first few, because I was just rusty.
Just tight. Yeah,
I was
she
rusty.
was just tight. That's all it was. But, you know, she, like I said, her body responded well. But what I most enjoyed was just the fact that it always just felt like a friend was coming to visit.
We were catching up, yeah.
We was catching up, and I think our most funniest ongoing joke is every time I wash my car, it is rain, Jasmine. Every time.
I think it's you.
And she started to say it was my fault.
Even when you used to come to me at home, Jazz, you would bring the rain with you.
The rain would come, but I said, you know what, Dekel, at this point, it's just showers of blessings. And that's what we're going to go with.
We can get sick with that, yeah.
You know, yeah. It was just one of those things, and I am so grateful because the way we met was unexpected and uncanny. The fact that we reconnected months later, the way we did, uncanny. But I just, at this point, I'm realizing, like, you know, the steps of a good woman is ordered by the Lord. And I personally is ask God every day, listen, open what you need to open, close what you need to close. If this is for me, bless it. If it's not, remove it. And I can truly say that both you and Mr. Quant, you know, have truly been that for me, and I appreciate it because, again, life is about building, it's about learning, and as long as you have breath in your body, that's something that you should be aspiring to do. So for me, I guess if I really had a question for you, because you thought
I thought I got away from the question.
You thought the lotioning was gonna just, you know, but you know, as far as the Bowflex Barbie empire goes, like, exactly where do you see yourself? I don't even want to put a time frame on it, but you know, just
what's the next step?
Yeah, what's the next step? Because I know you're working hard constantly with, well, this new project, obviously, but you know, Bahamas Fit Fest, like I already said, is coming up in August. But just for you as a personal brand, I guess, like, where do you see you?
Well, I first want to say, before I jump into answering your question, thank you for the kind word. I felt the same way when I met you too. Like, I was very comfortable. Yeah. And I think you have that gift about you that you make people feel comfortable. I feel like I'm very awkward with first meetings.
Yeah, I don't like people to feel awkward. I really don't.
Yeah, and so I felt that you were just very like, all right, girl. Like, it felt, like you said, it felt like a friend. Yeah. Like, I already knew you. You made me feel very comfortable from the jump, and so that made it easy for me to interact and engage with you. And I honestly feel like I always, whether it's intentional or not, I feel like you said, I feel like God always aligns me with people that are for me. Like, my entire, I wouldn't say my entire life, but like, like, especially through my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, your adult life.
Yeah, through my entire adult life, I noticed it more. I guess through my childhood, I'm sure it happened as well, but I always feel like the people that come into my life and stay in my life always
for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason. And they always align. Like, there's always people, whether they stay for seasons or long term. Yeah, like, it's just always been genuine connections that I can, you know, say they've really added value to my life. Yeah. And so with you, like, and what I respected and appreciate about you too is, like, when you weren't afraid to ask for help. Like, that's something that a lot of people, I struggle with asking for help. Like, I feel like I don't want to bother this person, or like, you know, just in my
deep down, I feel
in my own head. So I really appreciated and respected you asking for help.
Yeah.
And being willing to learn. I think that's something that especially women in our generation struggle with. I struggle with it.
Yeah, we do. Because we were raised to do it on our own.
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
To be strong, to figure it out.
And if you can't,
but I'm learning there's so much beauty in that, in asking for help and building the relationships. Like, I feel like relationships have honestly been what has propelled me in my move to Nassau. Like, building solid relationships is what I accredit a lot of my growth to.
And that's good.
Just connecting with people, being myself, being authentic, doing what I love, but focusing on serving the relationships that I have. How can I help you? How can we help each other? How can we grow together?
Most definitely.
I think that's been a big thing, and with you, it's been no different. So I had to plug that in first before I answer your question, which was, what's the next steps? So a big thing on my vision board now is having my own space, just like you.
Okay.
You know, working out of and managing facilities is great, but having that autonomy of your own space is totally different. And
that would be so awesome.
That's another big step. Me and Ethan are actually, like, pretty actively working towards that.
That's good.
Within the next few years. We want to have that done. But honestly, like I want to continue to grow in the online space as well. That's been a passion of mine from I started, which is why I always had some sort of online
activity,
presence since I started. I mean, aside from the social media, just finding ways to generate income online through programs, through I'm hoping to branch into even like fitness mentorship.
Oh, nice.
More one-on-one coaching online as well.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter now of creating more time.
Yeah.
Freeing up more time physically. I do love
getting help where you can.
Getting help as well. That's a big thing. Expanding my team. But yeah, I mean, I think right now it's tricky with managing the time that I do have. Right. I do love in-person training, and so I don't necessarily want to take that away. But I do know I want to dial back on it a bit so that I could allocate more time to the other stuff. Yeah. And so that's really the big, and I always say I want to do what I love. I want to do things that I enjoy. And so whether that changes between now and the next year, next couple of months.
Make sure it's something you love.
Yeah, right? I think the beauty of what I've done so far is that it's been hard work and it's been roller coasters of emotions and times, but I think the foundation of everything is that I do what I enjoy. Like I've not forced myself to do things. There may be elements like you talk about when you're doing everything yourself. There's stuff you don't really like to do, but you know you got to do it.
Yeah.
But the foundation of it is that I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. I love the people I work with. I love the opportunities that I've had to work with people and help people and just become an integral part of their lives.
And that's the driving force. Mm-hmm. That's what gets you out of bed, honestly. And I'm excited.
Yeah, that's really it. The facility is a big goal. Growing in the online space is a big goal, and then, just continue to find things. And I know I'm growing and evolving, and so the things that I enjoy may change. They may not. They may expand, or the list of things may expand. And so just being open to diving into those areas when the time is right.
That's what everybody who's an entrepreneur. I think it's a fear, but it's also a desire. Just being open to going a little deeper.
I think COVID taught us that too. Like, you got to learn to pivot. Yeah. you got to learn to
You ever watch Friends? There's an episode of Friends where Ross is just like pivot.
Okay, I don't think I watched. I don't know if I know that specific one, but
that's what COVID was. Like, you carrying a couch up a stairs, and there's like
you got to figure out how to get it through.
You got to figure out how to get it because it's either figure it out or this couch is gonna.
Or you on this couch, but I'm gonna be right there.
Stuck, and we don't want to be stuck. So
no.
I like that word, pivoting. Yeah. And constantly pivoting. Don't think you pivot once and then that's it. Like,
just being open to change, open to evolving. Even if it isn't pivoting, I think just being open to evolving and growing, and it's this feeling of being proud and happy and content with where you are, but not satisfied in that contentment or in that
space.
Yeah. And so I think that's like the theme of my life. Like, people are like, oh, you've done all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but I feel next? Like I ain't that yet. Like, it's so much to do.
Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad thing. But I am learning to celebrate the wins and enjoy the wins as they come. I was really hard on myself with that, but now I think I'm a bit better with realizing like, I did that and like celebrating it.
Listen, everything
instead of just like, what's next?
Yeah. Don't get stuck in that what's next headspace, because you're going to miss a lot of things.
Yeah, I've missed a lot of things, for sure.
We said it already. Like, you could be alive, you could be hustling, you could be doing, but are you living?
Yeah.
And are you enjoying what you're putting forth? Because everybody loving it, but everybody's enjoying what you're putting out except for you. So I'm glad that you've already learned how to celebrate yourself.
Yeah, I'm learning how to do it better.
Okay.
For sure. More aware of the problem, working on the solution,
Listen, I never had a problem with that. Everything I accomplish.
Celebration.
Like, what? I'd be like, girl, I say, that's you. You did that. Girl.
Look at you. I'm learning. I think my friends and Ethan have helped me to kind of learn when to pause and celebrate. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm glad that you have that circle of people to say, girl, if you don't slow down. Yeah. And, acknowledge it for what it is, because there are many people who sitting in a position where they're like, woulda, shoulda, coulda. But guess what? DeKel did. So
I feel that.
Yeah, man.
Felt to that. All right, Jazz. We're going to go into this or that.
Okay.
Quick, rapid fire. No long debating. No long thinking. Just answer the questions.
Because I feel in the pressure.
Just answer the questions. Everyone like to come up here and try to justify answers. These ain't hard though.
Okay.
All right. So beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beach. All right. Wine or cocktails? We know this one.
Wine time.
Mine depends. For me, I'm telling you, don't justify.
I'm about to tell you.
But I'm gonna choose. I drink wine more consistently. But if I had to live with one for the rest of my life, I'd probably pick wine. Never mind.
Yeah, because I'm like, for the rest of my life,
okay.
it's wine.
Yoga or Pilates?
Yoga.
Okay, yeah, me too. I've never actually done Pilates.
Same. I've never.
We can switch. I can add one there.
Okay.
Cupping or foam rolling?
Cupping.
You rather cupping on yourself?
Yeah. With cupping, for me to cup myself, I can do that.
You'd rather someone cup you than foam roll?
Well, okay. It's like
cupping or massage gun. That's a better question. I feel like they more.
I feel like still cupping.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. Foam rolling, when you have to do it yourself, that's a little difficult. Rolling all over that.
But massage gun, cupping or massage gun.
I still choose cupping because cupping is literally you
just gotta lay there.
Just lay the muscle out. You suction it on. You wait, and then you remove and you. But with the massage gun, that vibration in your hand,
like constant.
It's constant. It could be a little tedious if I'm doing it myself. Now, if someone is generously applying, then yeah,
I got you. Do you prefer Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix, as of late.
This podcast is on YouTube, but
my bad.
It's fine. I probably am. Both. I watch YouTube Shorts a lot now.
Okay.
I find myself like swiping through there a lot.
YouTube is still the place for music, though. Don't get me wrong. When I'm in the car,
sure. And YouTube is play all my workout playlists.
Yes.
So, are you a morning bird or a night owl?
Both.
You can't be both, Jazz.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Morning. I'm a morning person.
Okay. I'm by force a morning person too. I love going to bed early, so I definitely am a night owl. Sweet or savory?
Sweet. Definitely sweet.
What's like your favorite sweet thing?
Jeez.
Other than wine.
Listen, I was about to say.
Are you like a candy cakes?
Jolly Ranchers.
Candy. Okay.
Candy.
I'm a Sour Strips, Sour Patch Kids, that type stuff.
Oh no, child. Those sour are on rare occasions.
Sour candy.
Sweet or nothing.
Are you a tea or coffee person?
Tea.
Tea. Old people. Everyone.
I was going to say old people.
Everybody say tea. I'm like, I survive on coffee. I'm definitely coffee. IG or TikTok?
IG.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
You need to get on TikTok. I'm not very active on TikTok, but
I'm on TikTok adjacent thanks to my boyfriend. Like he makes sure I keep up.
You know what's going on the app.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Sneakers or heels?
Sneakers.
Same. I mind you. Yeah, but if I had to pick one for the rest of my life, sneakers for sure. Yeah.
Sneakers.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
All right, you better not hurt both feelings.
I could never.
For sure, dogs. All right, Jazz, that was all my this or that. That was easy, right? No pressure.
Sure. No pressure. No pressure.
But before we close out, is there anything you want to say? I like to ask my guests, something you want to say to our listeners? Any piece of advice, last words? It could be your favorite quote. It could be just anything.
What I want to say is that whatever you decide to do in this lifetime,
not the next,
not the next, because that's too late.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the now. Whatever you decide to do in this lifetime, I encourage you to be intentional about it. That's it. Be intentional about it. Know first and foremost what you want. Create a space for you to figure that out. Mm-hmm. And that may come with some adjustments, but make the space to figure out what you want and then do your research on how to best execute it. Because a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs. A lot of people want to get into the fitness space. A lot of people want. But what you do to get there matters just as much as the desire to have that,
I think what you do matters more.
It does. It does. Because you could want all you want. But until you actually, put your best foot forward.
Yeah. What's the action behind it?
Faith without works is still dead, guys. It was written thousands of years ago, but it's still applicable to today. And just remember, if anything else doesn't stick with you, recovery is for everybody. It just doesn't look the same. Endless motion, keep moving. No matter what stage of life you're in, keep chugging.
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
I love that. Jazz, tell the people, look into your camera, tell the people where they can find you, follow you, connect with you.
You can find me on Instagram as EM_recovery_242. You'll see my beautiful face and endless motion attached to it. Once you decide to message me and follow, I will connect with you right away. My WhatsApp number for my business number is right there listed on the page as well. Hit me up, reach out. I'd love to chat with you. A lot of times, you know, people just have a lot of, well, I'm not sure if you can help me questions. Ask them anyway. I'm open, I'm willing, and I'm ready. So I hope that you guys can say the same at some point. You know, take that leap of faith. Allow yourself to get to a place you never thought you could. And keep watching Flex Pretty Podcast.
Hey, let them know.
Stay connected. Stay connected. This is, believe it or not, guys, even just, you know, a lot of times we confuse certain things on social media as a bad influence. But this, in my opinion, is a form of research. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking to start a podcast, why not watch a podcast? Yeah. If you're looking to get into the fitness space, why not, you know, align yourselves with it? So if you're here, stick around.
You're in the right place.
You're in the right place. You're doing the right things. And, you know, it will benefit in the end. I promise you. Stick with it.
Well, I appreciate you, Jasmine. Thank you so much for coming on. We got to do a little toast.
Thank you so much for
wine
having me.
Still.
Listen.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, this was truly a privilege, an honor, and an unforgettable moment that's going to now be etched in my life.
And into YouTube.
For sure, for sure.
I appreciate you sharing. I'm sure that our listeners, our viewers are going to get some valuable gems out of the conversation. It's always a pleasure just catching up with you, you know? Always a pleasure chatting.
Listen, every time we get together, it's like, hey, girl, hey, how you been,
The whole time.
The whole time. It's just like, that. It's a big reunion, but it's so worth it. So this was fun.
Yeah, and I'm excited to continue to see you grow and cheer you on, support you. I'll see you at Bahamas Fit Fest.
Yes, I will be there. I plug in, and I didn't even say Endless Motion will be at Bahamas Fit Fest 2023, providing you with all your recovery services needs. Yeah. So don't be afraid. You might be like, well, I don't work out as much.
That's the best time to get it, right there.
Right there. Get it on your own soil with your girl. I'm taking care of all of you.
Or if you're visiting, we got some visitors coming in looking for you too. Because they didn't know you from last year. So they already say,
see, she lotioning again. She lotioning again. But yes, whether you're coming from out of town or you live here in the Bahamas, like, I got you. If you feel like a cramp coming on, just say, Jazz,
deal with that.
Flex Barbie and her team, her guest, because you know you always got them big hitters in the fitness field coming out. They'll keep you straight. I promise you, they won't kill you, and you will not regret it.
Child, you speaking for them. I know what they can do to you. I know.
I just
joking. Yeah, whatever they throw at you.
Whatever they do, I got you.
Well, thank you so much again, Jazz.
Most definitely. It was a pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let us know down low in the comments if you did as well. And be sure to follow Jasmine on all those platforms. I will link all of her information, her Instagram and her business number in the description for you to reach out to her if you would like to. And until then, y'all, until next time, stay sweating. Stay strong, stay flexing, stay pretty, stay inspired, you know, all that good stuff, all the good stuff. Y'all know I always close out my workouts with stay sweating, stay strong. So that was like an automatic response. Stay sweating, but I couldn't let y'all know that was a mistake, but now y'all know. But anyway, it's fine. But until next time, it did. It fit. I feel like it fit.
It did.
Until next time, y'all, I'm your host, Flex Barbie, and I'll see you on the next episode of Flex Pretty Podcast.
Hey, love that.